Everyone knows horror games. It's the prime demographic for people who only play games rated E for everyone. This may seem scary, but have you seen this? Get the hell out of my sight, what are you doing? Luigi's Mansion, one of Nintendo's first forays into the survival horror genre. Yeah, this guy was scaring the piss out of 7-year-olds all the way back in September of 2001. You know what else scared people just a few days earlier? Wasn't the release of Advance Wars, I'll tell you that. The Nintendo GameCube was home to so many horror games like Resident Evil, Eternal Darkness, and most importantly, Jesus Christ, censor that. Luigi's Mansion had such an amazing atmosphere, soundtrack, and even replay value. This was a crazy short game, which was criticized, but come on, it was a Halloween game. You're supposed to play this during the witching hour. By that, I mean 12 p.m. on a Friday. It was obvious Nintendo was going to make another game in the series. The key factor here was when. I know I'm ready. I got my... Oh, hot dog! My 3DS is broken! Nintendo released this game in March of 2013. So much for Halloween. Guess this was more of an Easter game. It was also part of the Year of Luigi. You know, I just feel bad at this point. We all know the Year of Luigi, the one event Nintendo celebrated that made no goddamn sense. 2D Mario, Dr. Luigi, $457 million of lost revenue, fucking horror game. If you want to go a step further, they remastered this game for the Switch and released it in June for full price. I always wondered what it was like to sin. The game received generally favorable reviews, quite similar to that of the GameCube game, if you don't count the remake for some reason. This game was very disappointing for lots of Luigi's Mansion fans. What do I think? Well, the game begins with Luigi being kidnapped of all things. Duly noted. What a weird way to start the game. This is like, I don't know, Persona 4 or something. The game takes place within the horrifying area known as Evershade Valley. This is less of a valley and more of a weird neighborhood. I envy the person who lives next door to a clock tower. King Boo stole the Dark Moon and littered pieces of it throughout the land, causing all the ghosts to go hog wild. You know what that means? Professor E.Gadd is once again forcing Luigi to do his dirty work. You know, if I wasn't eating a literal bag of salt, I'd be pissing myself right about now. The game controls as well as you'd expect. Due to the change in hardware from 3DS to Switch, lots of compromises had to be made, and I'd say it was probably for the best. Luigi controls more like he does in Luigi's Mansion 3, which is an absolute blessing. The game does feature multiple control schemes if you have a hankering for controlling Luigi in the worst way possible. If someone says they prefer to control Luigi like this, well, if I had a gun, I'd threaten them with it. If you press the L button, sorry, I forgot, Nintendo fucking sucks. If you press on this tic-tac of a button, Luigi's vacuum will blow hard. Yeah, I think I'd rather eat rocks. It's a bit disappointing that you basically can't use the GameCube controller to play these games. All of this could have been avoided if they just added a button remapper in the settings. After graduating to an actual controller made for real gamers, by that I mean stupid fucking babies, fighting ghosts becomes pretty fun. Unlike the original, where the light bulb just kinda glides over them, which can be a bit weird to get used to. We now have the stroll bulb. Once they're stunned, they're practically dead. You can easily tilt the control stick to fill up this power meter and boom, they're dead. You can also use a dark light to find hidden stuff or make things appear. Luigi, please don't use your forensics equipment in my room. I do think Luigi should have gotten more abilities as the game progresses, but what's here isn't exactly the worst. I don't know if I'd call it an upgrade over the original. That game had elements you could play around with that would be more effective against certain ghosts. Here, I don't know, just blind them. No! Not me! Unlike the first and third games, you travel to multiple different mansions in the area hoping to nab one of the many pieces of the fucking moon. The main core of Luigi's Mansion is still here, breaking and entering, and committing grand larceny. I don't think they'll be needing these. The more you collect, the more upgrades you'll unlock for your poltergeist. I actually think this is an amazing idea. It gives the player more of an incentive to rob people. That's it, I'm going. From increased damage to more charge on the old blacklight. The damage is really the only significant one. I think it would have been cool if there were specific upgrades you needed to have in order to 100% the mansions. But what's here is fine. It's nothing too groundbreaking. What is groundbreaking, however, is the drastic change in the structure of the game. Instead of just getting to explore an area to your heart's content, the game gives you an objective, and you must complete it. This game is solely based on completing missions over overall exploration of the area you're currently in. When you complete the task, E.Gadd will bring you back to his lab, only to give you a few lines of dialogue and then send you back in. It's really annoying. But wait a moment. Let's talk about this design structure in the context of the system this game was originally developed for. The original game was designed for a 3DS. There's no getting around that. The game says Nintendo 3DS on it. Nintendo clearly wanted this game to be easy for someone to quickly pick up, spend 10 to 15 minutes and complete a mission or two, then continue on with their day. It's not a bad idea, but that's just not what Luigi's Mansion is. Luigi going to several places isn't even the issue. The game just feels way too linear. As someone who loves the exploration of the huge mansion in the original game, Luigi's Mansion 2 leaves a lot to be desired for almost its entirety. The treacherous mansion is the only part of this game that even comes close to the size of the original mansion. There's so many different kinds of environments, puzzles. You turn small and have to fight a giant boo while looking for Mario. It's a really solid area in the game. It just kind of makes me wish the whole game could be like this. If they really wanted to keep the mission structure, I think they could have at least allowed the player to choose whether to go back or explore and see what kind of secrets they can find. As a matter of fact, it could have been really easy to just have E.Gadd contact Luigi on the dual screen and give him a new objective instead of taking you away from the mansion. The game would feel a lot more open that way. The only times I can understand directly taking you out is when you collect an item or something and need to give it to the old man. Other than that though, an objective updated message would have worked a lot better here. Where's that sound coming from? Oh, it's just the IRS. I shouldn't be worried. In order to unlock the extra bonus levels they have at the end of every mansion, you need to collect the many different boos hidden within. If there's anything this game does right, it's the boos. Boo! Jesus, I scared myself. I love how hidden these guys can be. Or it's right in front of your fucking face. They also have their own names and different personalities. It's a lot of fun to kill these guys. The bonus missions are nothing too crazy. He just sends you all over the place, forcing you to bust some ghosts. I actually really like the way these levels are structured. When you're done, he just tells you where to go next. It's almost as if this is how the main game should have been structured. The user interface gets a bit of an uplift moving from the 3DS to the Switch, which just so happens to only have one screen. The map is now displayed in the top right. What would I do without the map being displayed on the screen? Press a button? Who do you think I am? I kinda wish they made the minimap look a lot more like a DS, kinda like the Game Boy Horror or the Virtual Boo. It's a bit of a nitpick and doesn't really matter, but so are my opinions. I can't really say much about the UI given the fact there isn't really anything noteworthy. It's functional. There's barely anything on the screen. That's good. Something I want to talk about for a moment is how this game doesn't really share the same atmosphere as the original. That game is scary as hell. It's dark, there's fog, the ghosts come out of nowhere and scare the piss out of Luigi. Even just walking through the halls of the mansion invokes a sense of horror none of the other games have been able to replicate as of now. Luigi seems a lot more scared here than here. These are two different games, so maybe Luigi has gotten less scared as time goes on, but I think I prefer the old one. I'm not saying you're wrong if you'd like Luigi to have more dignity, I'm just saying you're wrong. Another thing I can talk about are the designs of the ghosts. This has 100% been talked about to death, but it's hard not to bring it up when talking about this series. The downgrade the ghosts went through is astronomical. When you play Luigi's Mansion 1, the ghosts are front and center. These guys look like they'd be in the Mario universe. Yes, even the fucking dead baby, why do you ask? These guys make me want to file a restraining order. I don't know, they feel so generic. I haven't played Luigi's Mansion 3 since 2019, but I can remember some of the ghosts having actual designs in that game. Oh, and the enemy variety is just awful. You fight the same ghosts throughout the entire game. They decided, no, we aren't gonna make new enemies to show up later. We're gonna take the same ones and give them cracks to make them stronger. Even the mummy enemy is just the same green ghost. Okay, let's just calm down a bit. Surely the bosses are good in this game, right? I've got some pretty conflicting news. On one hand, I could say the bosses are pretty good. It turns out, however, that there's just a huge but stopping it from being on both. Out of the 5 mansions, the main bosses just aren't very good, the exception here being the clock one. It is such a cool gimmick to have to go through waves of enemies with the actual fight against the main ghost being every 4 ticks. Remember how the boss looks in this fight. Okay, now here's the boss in the first mansion, and here's the boss in the final mansion. It's like I'm seeing double. Yeah, instead of giving them all unique designs like the portrait ghosts in the first game, they all look the exact same. These guys are dubbed as possessors. They're the guys King Boo trusted the shards of the Dark Moon with. The name of this game is suddenly making a lot more sense now. The 2 is... it's shaped like... I've got nothing. Only us North Americans, Brazilians, and Koreans get to remember the name of this game before it was, I don't know, censored. They took the damn subtitle. The fights against these guys all have specific attacks that you have to dodge until the guy plops out. Pull on the stair, guys. tail, then do the same attack over and over again until they eventually die. These guys use a stupid orb attack and rush around the arena in every fight. It gets old pretty fast. Even in the spider boss, you aren't fighting a ghostly spider, you're just fighting a regular spider that was possessed. Given their name, it makes sense to possess different people, but they could have given them all their own unique movesets, personalities, and most importantly, designs upon being fished out. It doesn't really make much sense to do it the way they did. I know it's a different development team, but I mean, they could have taken design cues from the first game to craft some really colorful and memorable characters. Even the mid-bosses use the same designs. They're just a ghost with a huge fucking head. Look at the real estate on that thing. I could land maybe 2 Boeing 747s on there. The only good mansion bosses in this game are the sisters and the Big Boo, which is kinda sad. Instead of giving the possessors a rule of thirds health bar, if they give them an actual one, it would have made the fights take longer than 3 minutes to complete, making them already better than they are currently. In order to fight the final boss, which may or may not be King Boo, I don't know. This guy doesn't look like he does in Mario Kart. All shards of the Dark Moon must be brought together. The fight against our main guy here isn't really all that exciting. You get launched into an arena and must drag King Boo underneath one of the spiked balls he launched in the air. Repeat that until his health fully depletes, and then you get put inside a running sequence. Rinse and repeat 3 times, and you have beaten the game. I'm honestly not sure if I like this fight more than the original game. The arena looks cool and all, but like, fighting a puppet Bowser and shooting balls back at him knocking the head off just feels a lot better than having the guy stand underneath them. The fight isn't bad, far from it. I just personally think they could have done more with it for a sequel to such an amazing game. King Boo is forever sealed away, never to be seen again. The moon is back in the sky, pacifying all the ghosts, and Mario has been taken out of a painting once again. Oh yeah, the Polterpup is in this game. I never mentioned that a single time, but he's here alright. Up next is the fabled Scarescraper mode. This is the online mode that pins 4 different colored Luigis against each other in several different modes. It's kinda hard to play this since, hold on, give it a moment. Yeah, I'm not sure anybody's playing this anymore. You can play this by yourself, which is what I did, but it's clearly made to be played with others. I only played Hunter mode since it's the most friendly to solo play. Nothing like playing a multiplayer game solo, it's like playing Mario Party by yourself. Alright Mario, it's all up to you. Mario? God damn it, not again. This mode is all about the capturing. If you suck up all the ghosts in the allotted time, you can move on to the next floor until you get to the end. I'm sure this would have been a lot more fun with 3 others. I'll just play the base game at this point. I don't get any satisfaction from doing this, so I'll just stop. The other modes like Rush or Polterpup mode are more about working together and benefit from having the extra Luigi power. Rush mode gives you 30 to 45 seconds depending on the version of the game you're playing to step on a bunch of switches and find the floor's exit. Polterpup mode, on the other hand, is just about searching the different floors to nab several Polterpups. Very self-explanatory that one is. And that was the entirety of Luigi's Mansion 2, or Dark Moon depending on where you live in the world. What do I think of this game? I think it's a pretty fine game, all things considered. There's lots of issues here that pretty much amount to it not having the same atmosphere and style as the first game. All of the ghost designs are incredibly generic and are overall pretty forgettable. The whole idea of Luigi exploring multiple mansions is something that I really love. I just kinda wish the game focused more on the exploration aspect over being mission focused. All of these areas are incredibly small and very generic. The Treacherous Mansion is the only one I can kinda exempt from this because of how many weird little environments it crams into a single place. If this game was designed and built for something like the Wii U, I guarantee you the game would be a lot different. The fact this game was built for a quick pick up and play session is really cool, but I don't think they should have done this for a series like Luigi's Mansion. Given the fact they went back to the singular building structure in the very next game, tells me it's the 3DS that made them develop it this way. Despite all of this game's many issues, it's incredibly fun, and filled to the brim with tons of humor and content to play around with. I can't see myself playing this game again for a very, very long time, and that's okay. I enjoyed returning to this, and that's all that's really important. I can finally rest easy knowing Luigi's Mansion 2 is just an okay game. Now Rockstar Games presents Table Tennis on the other hand, I think this game might be better. I'd like to thank you for watching today's video. As someone who loves Luigi's Mansion to death and will defend the games till I die, criticizing the shortcomings is something that is very necessary. If you truly love a game, you'll be able to easily enjoy it more despite knowing just how flawed the game can really be. Hopefully, I can get around to replaying the 3rd game at some point. It's only taken 6 whole years to think about that game again. If you liked the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as turn on post notifications to stay up to date with everything I post. I'd also appreciate it a whole lot if you could hype the video, as it boosts the visibility of it in the algorithm in my country. I'll see you all in my next video. Have a great rest of your week. Bye bye.